Hold on. Don't go anywhere. Yeah, I'm going to try to do this different today. Excuse me. Working my way back to the interstate. I hope. There's a tire popper. Mm-hmm. Came through here a minute ago. They had a car accident on this side of the road. I was on that side of the road, and the whole world had to slow down and stare at it. Excuse me again. Working my way onto the old interstate here. They give you priorities. Ooh, ooh. I know. Big bump, big bump. I have wide angle mirrors on this vehicle, and unfortunately, my wide angle mirrors are not adjustable for my height. So I have to get down to see what's going on. All right, go, Van. Here we go. Gonna go a short distance up here and get back on the highway. Hopefully, I have to go north, which is my goal because I don't want to go south because it's too freaking hot down here. And yes, I have itchy nose syndrome. Sorry. I'll get close a bit and see if this works. 101 degrees. Uh, yeah, there's a shade. 5, 6. Just gonna pick up some little mechanical parts. This is car stuff. I'm going to Toyota. Ah, I got one. I'm going to try this different today. Usually I'm filming the road, and right now I'm trying to claw my way back onto the road. About a mile and a half to go to supposedly be on the interstate. I've been stuck down in the outside of our core area down by Louisiana, Alabama, Mississippi, and I freaking hate going down there because there's no cargo and it's hot. It's hot and miserable. So I got a call and I ran up here, deadheaded up here to, don't tell me, LeBerg, someplace in Tennessee. And I just picked up a little tiny pallet, excuse me, a little teeny tiny pallet going to somewhere in Kentucky, going to the Toyota plant. It's like 100 pounds of nothingness. Sitting at a traffic light. Yeah, I hate coming down here, especially in the summer because it's too hot and you got to set up your air conditioner and whatnot. The topic of today is modern dating, and I will admit I drive down the road with YouTube playing pretty regular in my van, and because if you think about it, some of the stuff on here is a video you have to watch, and some of the stuff on here is just you can listen. I just listen to it. I don't watch movies. I don't do stuff like that. Somehow, in my algorithm, which I do not understand, I've gotten hooked on these dating, modern dating, marriage, wedding, non-wedding stuff that's going around and the expectations of life and what everybody's looking for out here. Wow, is it different from when I was younger? Uh, in the last few months, I've kind of picked up the system that I grew up under, what I was raised under, and how I came up is different. Or as they say, back in my day, it's all different now. You know, we used to play with rocks and whatnot back in the day. Well, my wife had to teach this to me. I did not realize one of the standards that women have at a guy's has to do with the guy's height. I didn't know that was the thing until my wife explained it to me. Uh, but women, especially with the internet being the way it is, uh, it's like you can go through on these dating apps, which I never messed with dating apps. That's before my time. But I remember when they first came out because there was a big stink made on the news about a couple that met online and they actually got married, and it was like, woo, big deal because it was a whole new concept. That's how far back I go. And I remember there was only a handful of dating apps back. This was 25 plus years ago. There was Love at AOL, I think, was one of the first, and then later on something came out called Plenty of Fish, which again using modern culture, I think is a hookup. Oh, I lost everybody. It was more like hookup culture. It wasn't really dating. But anyway, there's all kinds of dating apps out there, and people talk, oh, this one's good, this one's bad. I don't know the difference. I'm not on there. But it seems like shopping for a house, you go on and you put in the filter. Filter says, I want this, I don't want that. And women jump in there and fill out, I want this, I want that. And women get bombarded with messages from guys. Guys don't get even talked to. Very rare. Whoa. Whoa, hold on. Oh, we just decided to stop in the middle of the road for no reason. All right, that makes sense. We're still working on this? I don't know, did I miss something here? Sorry. Sorry, I got itchy nose syndrome. But it's you filter. You're looking for a certain age and certain criterias, and then you get a match. Oh, I found someone who matched with me, and it's like, no, you found somebody that met your impossible standards. And whoa, again, what is going on with this lane? Oh, everybody wants to get off of here. Okay, and you get a match, and again, the match is to the impossible standards and or requirements that people have, and that's where that's coming from. And then people get mad when it doesn't work out. And the internet is good in some ways, and it's absolutely horrible in other ways. And one of the ways it's horrible is people post highlight reels. In the real world we live in the course of your life, you have some high points, you have some low points, and then you have all this stuff in the middle that we live every day. And people put out videos. This is my life. It's a highlight video. It's this, but they spread it out and act like, yeah, this is the life I lead. No, it isn't. It's a highlight reel. So people start to get into this mode thinking that, yeah, that's the life I want to have. I want to live a highlight reel, which, yeah, no. Excuse me. And a lot of people are trying to reach for that. And since they see it on, in online, they think that's the real world, and it's not. So the expectations and the standards that are starting to pop up out there are getting absolutely ridiculous. And then you add in Photoshop and filters. Hey, Wyatt, what's up, mister? I am 3/10 of a mile from getting back on the highway here, trying to get motor. I got a little tiny pallet in the back here. I just tried to spin the camera around. That used to be different. And the standards and or requirements that are put out there looking for someone, guys are their desires are a little less stringent than women. Their list, whoo, if you go down the length of it, it's pretty bad. And just the very basics for women start with, which I've learned, he's got to be at least 6 feet tall, and he's got to make $100,000. That's the first two. And the percentage of guys that just meet those two requirements, married or unmarried, just period, is pretty small. But that's the requirement. Hold on a second here. I got to get on the highway. And it's kind of shocking that if you don't fill out those two requirements, you're automatically dismissed. Because women go online, they fill out the filter. And anybody under 6 foot, not interested. Anybody may not. And so you're going on this little small group of guys. And what a lot of the ladies out here don't realize is you and every other woman are competing for that same little group of guys. So that guy is going to have a lot to choose from. And those little group of guys up there that fit that criteria, consciously or unconsciously, hold on a second here, I'm getting on the highway. Sorry, my nose is driving me crazy today. Are going to take advantage of that fact that he's got women chasing him around, those guys. So if a guy who's up here in that thin air drops down a few levels to get involved with a woman in the middle, which is where most of us live. Sorry, don't mean to be rude about it. That woman is going to start thinking that she's up here because he came to her, so therefore she elevates herself to being in his level. So now that woman is convinced that she's entitled to a guy up here on top tier because a guy from the top tier, slave, what? I can't read that. I don't even know what that means. So then they get this expectation or requirement that she's going to end up with this top tier guy, and then guys that are running around here in the middle with them that are right here with them are beneath their dignity, and a lot of women will just dismiss guys that are around them because, well, he doesn't meet my standard, or oh, I'm not going to settle from a guy on your level. That's settling. And a lot of women will say out loud, "Oh, I'm going to marry up. I'm going to move up the social status." And women will high five each other on that one. And you go, "Oh, so you just fully expect a guy to marry down?" Oh, yeah, that seems fair. But this dude, they call him Chad. The Chads up here will run around and mess around with a bunch of women. He won't marry any of them, but he'll mess around with a bunch of them. And then this group of women he was going around in circles with will sit back and wait for Chad to return because they've tasted Chad and they want to get with Chad. But Chad's gone. Chad's not interested. And when Chad does get married, he's going to marry somebody probably up on his tier. And that's a sad state of affairs because there are a bunch of women running loose waiting on Chad. That Chad's not coming around, and all of a sudden they hit the wall. Everybody knows the wall is. The wall is 30. And all the attention that you automatically get when you're young, you have automatic beauty, you have automatic, youth and beauty just goes together. All the attention moves. All that attention goes to the new group of 20-year-olds. And women get panicky around 30, 31. They start noticing that guys chasing them and then, going into guys, which is what women do. It's part of their DNA. They just brush guys aside. And now the women are getting panicky and they're getting mad because where's all the good men at? Well, all those good guys were the guys you went to who were down here in the middle with you. You brushed them aside. And I have witnessed this and I have experienced this. The guys who are showing interest in women younger in life, that they just dismissed, years later will call them on the phone out of the blue, like 10 years. Hey, remember me? Yeah. What are you doing? They're like, kind of running around. Hold on a sec here. They're running around thinking that the guy that showed interest in them 7, 8, 10 years ago is going to be waiting for it after they've had their fun and goofed off and messed around with all these different guys. And, they're thinking, well, I need a backup plan. I need a retirement plan. And that's not what guys are into. That's not what guys like. That's not how guys work. Now, there may have been a time in history they got away with it, but not anymore. That's just not the world we live in. And whereas women have this standard, where's my standard for dudes? The dude standard for a woman is much different. And I have seen endless numbers of videos of women going, what do men like? What are men looking for in a relation? What are they? Ask them. They'll tell you. The problem is women think that men are looking for the same thing that women are looking for. So women put out what women seek and then are surprised when they don't get the reaction they're looking for because it's not what dudes are looking for. Women want a guy who's tall. Women want a guy who is successful, makes a lot of money, good with his hands, popular with his friends, likes to go on vacation, likes to go out and do all these things. And a guy wants a woman who's reasonably fit and feminine. That's it. It's pretty simple. And women, normally they put, well, I have a degree. Guys don't care. They really don't care. I make a lot of money. Guys don't care. That's not what they're looking for. But women put that out, expecting a guy to go, "Wow, look, I'm putting out what women likes. Therefore, a guy should like what." But we don't. We do. We want different things. And whereas a woman will be more seeking excitement, a guy when he's married, he's seeking calmness. He wants his house to be calm. He wants it to be a sanctuary. And what happens in a lot of marriages in this modern world we live in is women get bored. And women, just their biology, the way they're made up, women need the emotional roller coaster, the crazy dilemmas, things going on. Whereas guys don't want any of that. Women like it. I mean, think about soap operas. You ever watch one of those? It goes from "I love you" to "I will destroy you." Yeah, like in the same episode. But women like that stuff. They like the. That's why they market that towards women. And I found out soap operas, where that word came from, is they used to be a radio shows, and they had them during the day when women would manually wash clothes, and they on the radio they were called washboard weepies because they were always advertising soap on them because that was their crowd. That's where soap opera comes from. I thought that was kind of funny. So the issue is men and women seek completely different things in a relationship. And back when I was young, here we go again. Back in my day, yeah, back in WW9 when I was young, a couple would come together young with nothing. Two people come together and they would build their empire. And those marriages last because they were both there from the beginning. They were both there for the, don't you pull out in front of me. Yo, they're both there for the struggle. And today, it seems that it's more the guy's job is to go do the struggle and become successful and make the money and have the big house and be set up during the time frame that kind of the modern women want to go out and party, travel, and goof off and play with their friends. And then kind of stand around at the finish line waiting for the winner to cross. And then go, "Oh, I'm going to hook up with that guy. That's going to be mine." And I'm sorry, my nose is driving me numbers. That's the guy I'm going to link up with. That's the guy I'm going to marry because he's got everything I'm looking for. And that just that's not a strong foundation to come together. And digging around on the computer because I have a lot of free time on my hands. Oh, do I have a lot of free time? I stumbled across a website talking about sugar daddies, sugar babies, I guess in other words. And it's an actual website for those two people to come together. And generally speaking, how it works is if you're not familiar with sugar babies, sugar daddies, basically it's organized prostitution. You take a guy, usually an older guy with a bunch of money who's not socially apt, and a woman who's usually impossibly beautiful, and he is more or less paying her to be his girlfriend. So it's prostitution, but it has a better name to it. And on the guy's side, the guys will place these, call it an ad. And you can tell by the way he's dressed. He's a 50-something-year-old, very successful business guy who's a complete nerd. And it literally says, how much money are you offering per month to your charge? And you could click on the options were 10, 20, or 30,000 a month. And then there was one that said, we'll talk about it. And these guys could be broken into two categories. The guys that are successful that don't really know how to act around women, and the pimps, players, and part-time actors who are on there who are pretending to have money, but don't. And how you can tell those guys is they always click on the "we can talk about it" option. Whereas the nerdy guys that actually have money will put out a dollar figure. And sometimes the women on there will list themselves and they'll list their financial demands. "Oh, I need this much money per month." And I'm like, again, prostitution under a different name. And the pictures put up by the nerdy guys are legitimate. He's dressed a little, the fashion, the style's a little behind the times, and it's just a regular photograph with a camera or a phone. And the players, the guys that think they're pimp daddies, they have a professional photo taken totally overdressed, filtered a certain way, trying to make themselves look like they're big time operators. Is pretty obvious they're not. And the women do the same thing. They post a picture, Photoshop to the end of the earth, filtered on nuclear and AI. And if you look at the picture, you can see the picture is not real. So you've got a fake person trying to link up with another fake person under false pretenses. I'm going, pass. The fakeness of, I mean, there's probably people out there that do that, but that whole scene was just, ugh. But that's what I was thinking about. A lot of women, and these videos are constantly coming across my phone. They're basically asking the question, "Where's all the good guys at?" They're everywhere around you. They're everywhere. Speaking for a little bit, get away from this guy. They're. It's just that what they're looking for, you may not be putting out. They're not looking for perfection, and probably the hardest thing for a guy to find these days is a woman who's feminine. Most women have masculine traits. They're just real aggressive, and guys don't like that. And guys that are like that make themselves invisible to those women because they're all around you. But when someone, let me see here, I gotta go 52 alpha right there. Okay, I'm kind of in some heavy traffic right now. So the guys, again, what does a guy want? A woman who's feminine and reasonably fit, and we'll fill in all the blanks after that. I mean, honestly, that's pretty much it. Women, they if you don't, meet all these criteria, and when you start breaking it down to brass tacks, it gets pretty intense. A guy's got to be super good looking, and he's got to get along with all of your friends, but he can't be attracted to any of them. And these women saying, "I don't want a guy that's ever been married or has any kids," but she's been married twice, she has 3 kids. Like, oh, that seems reasonable. I mean, and the ones with the financial demands that lay against the guy. This one woman said, "Oh, I need a guy who has a big house that's got to have at least 4 bedrooms. He needs to own 2 cars, one of which, excuse me again, has to be a BMW, and he's got to be able to take me on at least 2 vacations or 3 vacations a year, exotic ports and stuff." And the guy says, "Well, do you have a big house?" She goes, "No, I live with my mother." "Do you drive a BMW?" And she says, "No, I don't have a car." "Do you have the money to go on these big luscious vacations?" "No." I say, "Well, then what? How can you have none of that and demand that out of some other person?" That doesn't seem quite fair. And then they asked the question, like, I really enjoyed this one. Would you date a guy, ladies? Would you date a guy that was struggling financially? And almost universally, the answer is no. Okay, because in this relationship that you're trying to cultivate, you're the struggling person. You know, why? What's the motivation for a guy to date a woman who's financially destitute? Just he's just taking on, whoa, he's taking on brake lights, a financial burden. Again, let's keep things real instead of Instagram. Sorry, that's just not the world we live in. But a lot of younger women, I mean, your peak market value when you're 18, 19, 20 years old, you are peak market value. And from there, it goes downhill. And women go, "Oh, no, I'm just as valuable on the dating marriage market. I'm just as valuable at 32 as I was at 20. No, you're not. I'm sorry." And it's look at a car. You could buy a brand new car. Excuse me. My nose is bugging me all day today. I apologize for that. You can go out and buy a brand new car and take care of it. And I mean, you keep up on the services, you park it in the garage, you keep it washed, you keep it waxed. Oh my God, the car is beautiful. And 10 years later, you look at the car and it looks brand new. And we are at a dead stop on the highway. The car looks brand new, shiny, clean. Oh my God, it's awesome. And then a brand new one pulls up next to you right out of the factory. Which car is worth more? Okay, that's what you're up against. And women will price themselves out of the market based on the value they had when they were 20, and now they're 31, 32, and they go, "Okay, well, I've had my fun. I've dated, I've traveled around the world, I've goofed off, I've tasted Chad. Chad's not coming around. I think I'll go get married now. I'm going to throw myself out on the market to get married, and I'm going to price myself at the same value I had when I was 20. Throw myself on the market. Boom. Guess what? No buyers. Sorry. That's not how that works. I don't write the rules. It's like a dude over here that's got lots of money and a guy over here that has no money. The guy with no money is not going to be able to market himself like the guy with money. The successful guy has a lot more options available to him than the not successful guy. That's just the world we live in. And I would like to think, oh, that doesn't matter. Yeah, that's still how it works. Oh, geez, no, I got to step over. It's not even rush hour. It's 1:30 in the afternoon. Why is this doing this? Okay, I got to go over here and change. I'm sorry, I'm in real heavy traffic right here. I am very fortunate that I am not part of the dating scene. I have nothing to do with it. I am not in it. I'm not interested in it. As far as getting involved, I do have it on my feed, though, and I keep hearing this. And people act surprised when you tell them, for lack of a better word, when these ladies on here, it's a lot of the guys I think have a pretty good grasp of the situation. Women don't like hearing stuff they don't want to hear. And what they don't want to hear is Chad's not coming. Just because Chad messed around with you, that doesn't mean Chad's coming. Chad used you for easy access. And yes, a guy will dumpster dive for easy access. And as far as marriage goes, that's going to be a toughie. These next few years, finding a guy to get married to, ladies, is going to get tough because guys don't like playing that game anymore. Marriage has turned into a business. A guy's thinking about getting married or having a family, having a legacy, and women are starting to treat it more like a retirement plan. They're dating a guy not because she's interested in him, she's interested in what he can do. And as soon as he can't do something for her, she's lost interest and she's going to cash out. And when you sign on the dotted line, it's a contract. Marriage is a contract, and it doesn't benefit a guy to sign a contract with somebody who benefits from breaking the contract, which is what marriage turns into. Come on, dude, I flashed you over. Yeah, why is it? There shouldn't be this much traffic here. Let me show you what I'm looking at. Hold on a sec. Look at this. I'm in the middle of, what is this, Knoxville, Nashville? I don't know. I'm in the middle of some city. Memphis, Huntsville, Louisville. Yeah, I'm in the middle of something here, but look at this. Hold on. Yeah, I'm going to have to agree. Like I said, modern marriage, it's just an opportunity to cash in. And there was a guy, and this happened recently, and I thought this was shocking, brilliant. Very successful guy, very smart guy. Got married. Again, he's a little older, she's a little younger. She was physically, she was way out of his league. And they got married, and they were married for 6 years. And she decided, okay, here's her chance to cash in and take half his stuff. So she went and got an attorney and announced they're getting a divorce. And, that's it. I'm out of here. She found her replacement and blah, 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 the usual routine, some younger guy. And he sat down across from her with her attorney, and he said, I got two responses. First one is, if we go down this path, there's no going back. And this is not going to turn out the way you think it is. And her attorney went, yeah, I'm really smart. Oh, okay. So she said, yes, we're getting divorced. He said, fine. He opened up a file and slammed the paperwork on the table and said, we got divorced 7 years ago. You got nothing. And he said, don't stay in touch. And he got up and walked out. He found some way of divorcing her without her knowing it and just kept that paperwork. Just in case. They still lived as a married couple. They did everything married couples do. But he kept that just for such an event. He went, boom. And a couple days later, she called and he ignored her calls. And then she left a voicemail. Oh, we need to talk. We just, nope. I don't know how he did it, but the guy had the time, money, and wherewithal to figure out how to do it. I thought that was cool. But I'm married. I'm very happily married to this team. I'm told I'm happily married. My wife says I'm happy. She has red hair. I don't argue with her. And I'm staying married. I'm not dating. I'm not looking. I'm not going to look. I am happy if a meteorite falls out of the sky tomorrow and lands on my wife's head and I'm suddenly not married. I'm not getting remarried. I'm done. I'm happy with what I got, but I have no desire to go out there and start over or try to create something. I'm good. What town is this? I'm on Interstate 40. Okay, Memphis, Huntsville. I did not realize this was going to happen at this time of the day. This call to traffic. Now there's a split in the road. I think I don't know what town this is. This might be Nashville. That's how this about this expediting job is. You just lose track of where you are and what you're doing pretty easy. I'll show you again what we're up against. So I was supposed to be like, oh, open the road. This is I-40, and I'm breaking off on the 24. Going over. No, okay, this is Nashville. It's officially on my map here on my GPS. I am in Nashville. Jealous? You do this job long enough, you start losing track of where you are and what you're doing pretty quick. Alrighty, dude, come on over. All right, let me put you back over. Spinning around. Okay. You know, look at my ugly look. I'm just trying something different. Okay, I gotta go 4.5 miles, turn on 65. So we're in Nashville. So that's my 2 cents on modern dating. And so this is me talking. Ladies, if you're looking to get married at some point, may I suggest you start early and trying to find a guy who's got his act together, who has the good potential, because modern women do not usually date guys with potential. They want guys that are winners. They will not accept anything that's not already a winner. And that's all fine and dandy, but those aren't the marriages that last. The ones that last. Why are we doing this again? This is only mildly annoying. And the wife and I came together. We didn't have much of anything, but we built up. We've got everything taken care of. Our little townhouse paid for. Our cars paid for. We don't have any craziness going on. I don't seek anything outside of a marriage that we don't already have. We're good. So find that person, and I've read somewhere they said find the weird, the strange, or the weird that matches your weird. You know, just find someone to have fun with. But just like I said, having requirements and expectations is great, and women can list them, and they're pretty long, and they go on for days, and then we'll reject a guy because one woman guy met all the requirements and then he rented an apartment. Oh, I can't live with a guy that doesn't have his own house. I'm like, wow, awesome. All right. Well, this was kind of a short one for today, but I'm just getting this. I got to fight with this traffic. Take care.